What's up and welcome back to Cleats to Whistle podcast. I am Brad Valdez.
I am Kevin Watson.
Man, we've had a hell of a time here at Bryan Station, man. These kids are solid, man. Wonderful kids, coach, man. We're going to introduce you real quick. Phil Hawkins, the head football coach here at Bryan Station. Okay. Coach is an author.
Yes.
He's an author. He is 2000 Kentucky 6A Coach of the Year, 2020 AP Coach of the Year, 6-time All-American Bowl coach.
Did you write this stuff or did he give it?
State runner-up 23.
Yes.
Jeez, look at this guy, man. Bryan Station, the last 4 years, is the second most winningest in 6A with 41 wins. And you just got a tough schedule this year. It's just a phenomenal schedule that, you're getting your boys ready. So, Phil Hawkins, welcome to the podcast. I appreciate you for having us out and coming on, man.
Thank you. It's a pleasure, certainly. And anytime we could talk about our kids, we're going to do that.
There we go.
That's what it's all about.
Okay, and we had a bonus coach, man. Tell us a little about yourself, man. Tell them your name and who you are.
JT Haskins, defensive coordinator here, the associate head coach with Coach Hawkins. We've been at it for a while. 4 years now, Coach?
Yep, 4 years.
Been at it for 4 years, and we're off and running.
There you go.
Oh, wait. And one time, All-American coach.
There we go.
One time.
He was with me this year.
Oh, okay.
Coaching All-American game.
Well, I really want to get into that because it's like, you're down in Texas, man, coaching these kids up, man. How does that feel? Like, is it a total different world?
Disney World. For a coach, it's like being in Disney World because, those kids are huge. And you may see one or two guys in your program that are like that, but when you put all that level of size and talent all together on one roster, it's unbelievable. I mean, it was like coaching a college team.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
and your experience?
Yeah, I have the defensive backs, and boy, was it a pleasure. I mean, you tell the kids come out and do one thing, and they mastered it then within the next drill. So it's just coaching one time, and they get it and they go.
Love it.
Man, I think you had
much
3
coaching.
Alabama commits.
Yeah, that helps. That helps too. That helps too.
Not a whole lot of coaching involved.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're just hanging out in San Antonio.
Just tell them where to go.
Pretty much.
Cover two boys.
There you go, man. And you guys have you guys grew up in Kentucky?
I go first. I'm actually from Kentucky. I actually played ball here in 96 was my freshman year. I graduated in 2000. My senior year was the last time that Bryan Station has clinched a championship berth. So that was in 1999 with Eric Shelton and my younger brother, Robert Haskins. Came up a bit short to St. X in overtime. So it was a great game.
Wow.
Eric Shelton, stud.
Dang. And what about you, Coach?
I'm from right down the road in Frankfort. I was born and raised in Frankfort, and I love Frankfort, but I'm having a good time in Lexington.
Well, I know you've been hanging out in Louisville, coaching over there too.
Well, these guys got a little Louisville in them, just a little.
Bit.
They're a little Louisville, huh?
Yeah, just a little bit.
And let's shout out some of your guys' mentors, man. Go ahead and take it, Coach.
Gary Dearborn was my high school head coach, and he was an amazing guy. His son and I were friends. We're still friends to this day. He left quite an impact on me. And then, Don James at the University of Washington, the dog father, one of the greatest coaches probably ever. Probably a lot of the things I do as a coach came from him, and it's worked for me in my career. So, I've been around a couple of really good guys, and really I gained more from my assistant coaches here at Bryan Station over the last 4 years than probably in a lifetime. It's been amazing what they've brought to my coaching ability, and we feed off each other every day, and I feel like I'm getting a little smarter. I've got so much to learn still, but it's just a lot of influences.
Yeah, and that's the game. You never stop learning.
No.
You know what I mean? And that's the great thing about it is like, I'm probably going to learn some stuff from Coach, man, probably just on our rides here, So it's a good thing, man. What about you, Coach?
Boy, I have some great mentors that I looked up to. First, I have to give a shout out to my Uncle Joe. Haskins, who introduced me to playing football at a young age. Coach John Nocta, my high school coach here, and John L. Smith, Bobby Petrino, all my position coaches, Greg Burns, Joe Witt, who's now the defensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders.
Commanders.
Yeah. So I've had some great coaches that I'm following up on myself.
Phenomenal. Now I like to dig in your guys' past and you know what I mean, why you do things you do, like the number you wore. Was there a reason why you wore that number?
No. Nobody was in a hurry to have 85, and you know, I still can't get a kid in this program to wear 85, and I finally had one this year actually say I want to be 85 next year, so that was good. But no real reason or rhyme.
Now let me guess, you were number 3?
I was number 3.
Okay.
I picked that number. I was the third child in my household, and I was fortunate to have 3 beautiful kids myself, Jaden Haskins, JT Haskins Jr., and Jordan Haskins, who you guys had on earlier. Great family, man.
Hey, I was a season ticket holder, and I enjoyed every minute of this dude playing, let me tell you.
Yeah, Louisville Cardinal over there,
yeah.
man.
Oh, yeah.
Repping J.J. Weaver. Shout out J.J. Weaver for sponsoring this episode too, man. It's good sponsorship, man, to have right there. Your guys' favorite memory, coaching or playing, man? What you know what I mean? You probably have more.
I would say
Coaching.
I would say coaching for sure. But my fondest memory, it was coaching last year in the Bullet East game, lost in the regional championship, and there was a picture circling around that. I had my hand around him, and was telling him it was going to be okay, and we knew we was going to make it back to the state championship, and voila.
Yeah, that was a pretty good memory. Yeah. I think another probably a super fond memory for me was actually in the regional final the week before beating Trinity. Being a guy that coached in Louisville, I knew the impact of a public school beating Trinity in the playoffs like that, and I also knew it would propel our program. You know, so we were pretty excited. There's some video clips of he and I acting like 12-year-olds. I mean, we were jumping up and down, and, you know, it was amazing memory for me, and probably it's going to stick with me until we can win a state championship.
Yeah, you guys been so close. You know what I mean? What, 20 and now 23. So you guys are building a monster out here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're just out there and impressive bodies all over. But it's just you guys have that camaraderie and that brotherhood that's just like, you know, I'm not going to let you down this year.
Right.
You know what I mean? That fires me up.
I made the joke that you never see one without the other. That's a testament to who they are and what they do. I mean, they lean on each other.
Right.
I mean, you have to. You have to have a dude that you can trust.
Right.
That's right.
Right? I mean.
Yeah, no, it's no question. No question. And you know, there are things that I will call him about and run by him. What do you think? How will a defense react to this kind of thing? And he shoots ideas to me, and it's been a perfect relationship. I mean, it's proven itself in the games that we've won and how we progressed the program so rapidly. And you know, when we went to the semifinals in 22 and lost that game, you know, he's right. We walked away going, you know, it's amazing we were here. We felt like we left some stuff on the table, but we know we can go back. You know, it's an experience that now the kids have, we have, and we followed it up, and a lot of it lends itself to our relationship.
Yep.
Well, you've got the taste in your mouth now.
Oh yeah.
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 No, I mean,
Yes.
hey,
And the thing is just getting the kids to believe.
that's right.
Well, that's part of the battle. Once they believe they can do it, now they've been there, they've seen it. Let's go get it now.
Let's go.
Let's go get it.
It's a lot easier now. In 2020, you had COVID going on, and we were trying to rebuild a program that was struggling a little bit. So, you know, convincing kids year one we were going to win 10 games was a lot. You know, and then now you got to build on that. You don't want to go backwards. So there's a lot of pressure on you. And then you followed up with another 10 wins, and then you find yourself in the semifinals, and you find yourself in the state championship. That's pretty good progression for any
Now,
program.
runner-up's cool, but
No,
it's time to kick the door in
no,
now.
that's the expectations here.
right.
We don't talk really about wins and losses. You know, we want to all win, but week 15 is really
That's right.
where we'd like to be.
Love it. Love it.
And also it's making these young kids better men too once they leave our program. That's what we really believe and stand on, is like you were saying, life after football. Because there's going to be a time that's going to come to an end, and we just want to make sure that we instill enough knowledge to where they can go out and be successful in their careers.
With you being a D1 athlete, you know what I mean, and playing at that high level, how did you make that adjustment?
It was tough. It was hard. Of course, I had the kids, so I bounced around. I was trying to land on some NFL teams, and just knew I had to get a job. So I had to get that 401k popping. So when we get ready to retire here in 20 years, we're gonna be fine.
There you go.
Football is life, but there's life after football.
Yeah, there's so much.
And you gotta.
Yeah,
That's part of being a coach.
And like you said, football is life, and there's other things you can do within the football, like you get into coaching, you go referee. There's so much you can do with it.
There's only 6 teams happy at the end of the year.
Exactly. You've been saying that. That's a constant message from you.
I've been there. I lost in the championship game too. It sucks, and we lost to Trinity as well. So trust me, I'm pulling for y'all against Trinity.
I'm rooting for you guys, man. I'm rooting for you guys. But Frederick Douglass coming up now. You guys in 6A. So you know what I mean? Are you guys rivals?
To be determined.
If we have to play them in the playoffs, we're rivals. It's pretty much my mentality. Even though they're in our district now, with the RPI, you can be second in your district and then the state championship game, and the team that won the district not be. So, they're 3 miles away. So, it's a topic, and they've had such success here in Lexington and statewide that you can't avoid them. But we don't wake up in the morning and say,
You don't break it down every day on beat Frederick Douglass. You got bigger fish to fry.
Somehow we've created a rivalry with Trinity, which I never, ever imagined this program would turn itself into that, So we played in Week 15. We're going to turn around and play in Week 1. And we played them last year, Week 1 and Week 15. So, right now, I guess that's who we've got to deal with.
What's the old saying? To be the best, you got to beat the best.
Be the best, we got to beat
play
the
them
best.
all and beat them all, and you're the best.
Well, that's our schedule next year is 3 state champions in a row.
Yep.
So you got to be willing to. I don't think you make it to state championships without playing state championship quality teams, and that's what we do. And if you lose a game, then you learn from that loss and you move on, and hopefully by Week 15 you figured it all out.
Right. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You start off with your scrimmages, which are bangers too. Don't you got a couple of scrimmages that you got?
We start out with LCA, and then we do Great Crossing, and then Trinity, Royal, Bowling Green, Ballard. That's how we start the year. Yeah. It's pretty good schedule.
That's a test, man. That's a test. And now, any hobbies outside of football?
Hobbies. Family man. Coach takes him to the golfing course a couple times a year, so.
That's right.
I know what your hobby is, driving that Hellcat.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, it's become a hobby, but, really to do what we do, and take care of our family also, it's really hard to squeeze a hobby in for me. And my wife's important to me, and so I've got to, bank time for her, and then these kids are important to me. So, my day is taken up between the two.
If you're going to do it right, that's the way it's got to be.
And hobbies are
His
far
hobby is the
between,
off-season
exactly.
drawing up plays.
Yeah. But what was the one thing that got you wanting to coach? Is it not wanting to get away from the game, or is it just the love of the game, man, just pulled you in?
I think it's the love of the game. Fell in love with it when I was 6 years old, and like I say, I just love it, man. Can't get away from it. I don't know what I'm gonna do once it's all over with.
Are you going to keep coaching when all your kids are gone?
That 401k is looking pretty good at ESOP.
No, he's going to keep coaching. Don't let him fool you.
There you go.
You can't do it forever, Coach.
Now, same to you. Like, what got you into this?
I think certainly you have to be in love with this game, and if you're not, this is not the profession for you anyway, because you're not going to get rich doing it for sure. But, I really fell in love with my ability as a coach to mold and to help kids with their future. That's really the driving point. I have more fun on signing day than I do on game day, if that makes sense. So, that's really what drives me, and I put a lot of energy into it. Coach puts a lot of energy into it, and we want our kids to be successful adults, and that's probably the drive,
It's funny how many coaches, their two favorite days are signing day and graduation. When those kids walk across the stage, there's something very special about seeing your kids walk across the stage.
It is amazing to see them be successful at whatever they choose. This morning I went over and watched Kentucky practice, and Damon Green was there, and his little brother's on our team now. He's a freshman on our team, very good kid, very good player, and it was neat to see Damon doing what Damon wants to do right now, and I feel like he was excited I was there, and that's what makes you happy.
Love it. And how do you know what I mean? You guys been pressure packed. You know what I mean? As in getting the wins, taking that next step, trying to feel that pressure. How do you guys deal with that?
I'll just take one day at a time. I mean, pressure busts pipes. So I think we're just here to, just like I said, the foundation has been laid. We just do what we do.
Yeah, I think he's right. I feel like the first couple of years, especially the first year, we had to change the culture and line things out. But, I feel like now after 4 years and a trip to state championship, we're not – autopilot's probably a bad word because we work extremely hard and these kids do. But I feel like we've laid such a foundation that going into spring football after spring break, the kids know what we expect and they'll roll on to it, and the new kids will catch up fast. And we just have a lot of systems in place now, and things are a little bit easier. We don't have to coax the kids to come to the weight room. This weight room's full. Every day it's open, it's full to the rim. And that's a good culture piece to have, and those are things that we don't have to work on anymore. We just continue the expectation.
Love it. And that's just as a staff, you guys can come together, you know what I mean, and set the standard, you know what I mean, because that's where it starts. It starts with you as in the culture change. You know what I mean? So spotlight some of your other guys besides this guy.
Well, I have not been quiet about talking about my staff because I feel like I have one of the better high school staffs in the state of Kentucky. I've got one hit. I think you played with Coach Lewis in college and with the Horsemen.
Correct.
Right? So
Correct.
Harry Lewis, he does the quarterbacks here. He does a great job, and he's got a lot of energy. And we have Aaron Dishman who coaches running backs, and he actually coached here at Bryan Station when JT was a player. So he's got a lot of knowledge and knows the north end, and he brings a lot to it. And Andy Halloran is very consistent. He's our offensive line coach. He's very consistent, and he brings some experience to the table every day. And then we hired Don Miller, who was the head coach at Western Hills. He was our linebacker coach this year, and he's got a lot of experiences, and this is a good experience for him and us having him. And we just blessed with some good guys, and because of our success, we've had to replace a few guys here and there. That's the expectations, and so we brought some nice young coaches in for the year, and we're just going to reset and do it again.
There you go. And we were talking at another podcast about bringing the younger guys in, trying to mentor guys. How are you doing that as in mentoring and just trying to mold the next great coach?
Well, I think we do a pretty good job at it. We have several young coaches coming in. Basically, just have them just watch what we do and how we do things, and basically explain the game to them. I think once it's done, and then you just know how to prepare the kids for what they're about to face.
Yeah, I mean, we lost a coach to IMG. Which is fine. Great young coach. He's going to do awesome. We lost one to a coordinator position. You're going to lose good kids that are getting involved in this game. But, my biggest worry is to make sure that there are coaches when we're gone.
Yeah.
That's the biggest worry. And sometimes the easy path doesn't exist for kids as when they come into coaching. They can't go from being the freshman coach to a coordinator somewhere. But, they've got to do their time, and we want to make sure it's a good experience for them and tell them the good, bad, and the ugly. And I'm really comfortable with our staff from the freshman group all the way up to the coordinator and, of course, to JT. it's like family.
Love it.
And I've always told the guys that coached under me, I'm never going to fault you for taking what you feel like's a better, a better position. Not a better position, but a promotion or, that's what it's about. I mean, not everybody can go from a wide receiver coach to a head coach right away. I mean, it's very rare unless you really know your stuff.
Yeah.
So, sometimes you got to let those guys go, man, and spread their wings. And a lot of times they'll come back to you.
Well, it's funny. They do. They try to, and then by then you've replaced them, and. But, one thing I tell young coaches is being a head coach is not exactly the most fun in the world. There are days that everything's riding on your shoulders and you're dealing with, putting a lot of fires out. And
Friday nights are easy for head coach.
that's the easy part. That's the easy part. And I think people don't realize what you go through. And it's just, it's not always easy, and that's why you got to love it to keep doing it.
It's the off-the-field stuff that gets you as a coach. It's getting to the field's a great part.
Yeah.
It's Monday through Thursday that really gets you.
Yep.
It can really get you down if you let it.
Yep. And have you started any traditions here or carried any traditions on or start new ones?
We got a few things we do around practice and around pregame, but the tradition we've tried to start is winning. I mean, we want to win. That's a good tradition. Just win as many games as you can and play as long as you can. And actually, the tradition now is practicing on Thanksgiving. That's the tradition we're trying to continue is having that practice. This year and last year, we invited all the former players out for our Thanksgiving practices, and it was amazing how many guys showed up for those practices. I mean, NFL guys, just an amazing group of guys have played here at Bryan Station and getting a good dose of seeing them and how proud they are. And the 1971 guy, remember, he had his big ring on from 71. He said, "You're going to go get this." And he put that ring out in front of those kids. And to see him, he's, I guess, probably in his 70s. And he was just so proud and excited that he played here. That's probably the best tradition right now is Thanksgiving Day practice.
And I will tell you, I've known Phil a long time from his Louisville days, and he's a big promoter for his kids, always has been, and his program. He's always putting stuff on Twitter, and he's a program guy. He always has been, always will be. And I knew what this weight room looked like before I even stepped foot in it because he puts out pictures, and, it's great. And that's one thing I've always liked about him is he's all about the kids and getting their names out there, getting them exposure, getting them on to the next level, and so on. And that's what it's about.
Yes, and I will actually put Coach's email down here. And if somebody wants to help, like sponsor anything, can they just hit you up on X?
Yeah, social media.
Social media?
Look for the blue check.
Blue check.
No, I'm kidding. Look for the blue check mark. No, a program like this, we need a lot of support. We do need a lot of support. It's a Title I public school. We don't have money just sitting around every corner, and we're trying to operate at a very high level. So we've been very fortunate to have some very gracious people donate time, money, energy into our program, and it's allowed us to move at a rapid pace. So, we're never going to tell anybody, don't help out these kids. Ultimately, that's what it's doing. It's helping the kids out.
Yes, sir. That's awesome. And let's talk about this last season. Okay, we're almost done. We'll wrap it up. You guys got things happening though. You got kids coming in, right?
Yeah, the freshman groups, the incoming freshmen coming.
Yeah.
About to come
Oh,
in
okay. So yeah, let's try to hurry this up. Let's talk about the good, bad, the ugly of last season, man. What was some of the good and bad and the uglies?
I think the good is having all. I speak on the defensive side of the ball, having all 11 kids playing at a high level, and trusting and believing in one another. I'm sure you could say the same with the offense as well.
Yeah, no, I don't think any head coach or offensive coordinator is going to complain about their team scoring 517 points in a year. So, we had a lot of good statistical things, and we had some great experiences in some big football games. Those were very good for our program. The bowl game at LCA against Bowling Green, that was down to the last second, and we just had some great experiences. The bad you know, obviously the one elephant in the room would be losing the state championship. You know, that supersedes all the bad for me.
Yeah.
But that could also be a good. I mean, you took the next step. Now it's time to take the next step.
That's true.
I mean, you want to win it when you get there.
Right.
But now the
You
next
asked
steps.
the bad, I just told
Yeah.
you.
The next steps in front of you.
And then that would be the good.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, you're
Yeah.
right. I mean, it left a different kind of taste in my mouth. But
as
it
it
also
should.
made me want to go right back. And we learned from that, though.
Yeah,
didn't
I mean, we showed up, and you know, if you ever coached in the state championship game, it was once you enter the field, you have a certain amount of time to do things. So our I'm not making any excuses, but everything was just thrown off.
It's condensed.
Yeah, it was condensed, so it was like we was rushing. So now when we go back,
Now you know what to expect.
I got a game plan.
That's right.
No, it was the same with the semifinals.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
it allowed us. You know, we were down at halftime against Ballard, and Ballard was a very good football team this year. And you know, our kids, because they had been there, I think that experience allowed us to tell them at halftime, "Look, the game's not over." We made up a 2-score deficit in 8 minutes and won that semifinal game. So, you know, we had a lot of good, a lot of good.
A lot of good. And what would be your bad?
I have to say the state championship game.
State
as well.
championship.
Yeah.
Okay, and then let's go straight to the ugly then.
State championship.
Just seeing those seniors who worked hard, who built this foundation that we've laid, just seeing them walk off the field in defeat. You know, a lot of them was crying. You know, I gathered them up as the trophy was being presented to Trinity, and I just told them, you know, take this as a life lesson. You know.
Yep.
And some of those guys will never play football again. I mean, not everybody's a D1
that's
athlete
right.
and a
That's
college
right.
football player.
Yeah.
Some of those kids will never play football again.
This is my philosophical side
Hey.
right here. I mean, he's right.
Everybody's got that little guy sitting on their shoulder
Well,
telling
and,
them.
and he knows. And,
Yeah.
and
He's been there.
I've been there.
He's been
I was
there.
I was the same kid
Yeah.
in that same
Yeah.
situation.
Now, how many? This is totally off, but U of L, you played in some. How many bowl games?
I played in all 4.
Some big ones.
Yeah, Liberty Bowl, GMAC
So
Bowl.
you've been there. That's
Yeah.
a great guy to lean on as a kid. I mean, if you got any questions, ask this dude because he's been at the highest level, playing in the biggest games. I mean, he didn't play for a national championship, but pretty damn close to it.
It was close.
Pretty damn
We
close
was
to
close. We was close.
it. I'm not going to this guy here.
This guy.
Okay, let's spotlight some guys that came back. Spotlight your guys, man.
Defensive side of the ball, I'm gonna have to start out with the guys up front. You know, I think they set the tone. So we got Christian Gerton, who is an outside backer defense end. Tanair Brown, who is a nose guard, tackle. Glenn and Andrew Pachangas, 2 big bodies that you're going to see on the field. And, you know, and moving on to the middle of the field, I have to go with Keeneland Adams, my Mike linebacker. Having him back. I got a good group of kids coming back. I mean, I of course, I'm losing a couple seniors, but overall, you know, it's next man up.
You 4-3?
4-2-5.
4-2-5.
3-4.
Attaboy. We talked about that. I remember now. We talked about the 4-2-5.
So, you know, it's next man up. I mean, this is what I'm in it for. You know, I don't want to have to be coaching the best of the best. I mean, coaching the All-American game was fun, but it was I wasn't teaching. You know,
Didn't have
so
to.
I'm all about teaching.
Well, and we've grown our program to a point to where, you know, I've talked to him quite a bit about it. It's got to be that now. As we graduate 25 seniors or whatever that number is, you got to have 25 seniors the next year that can just roll right in. And if your systems are in place and your consistency's in place, that's what those programs do. They lose great players. They get new great players come in behind them.
The next 25 great players are right there.
That's what happens. And that's – we have to remind ourselves that. We lost some great kids. I mean, all those seniors were great kids because they were here for the whole struggle. They were my first freshman group, and they got this program going.
Here's the good. I'm going to go back to one of your last questions. The good is winning some of most games that we won, those games at large margins sometimes, it allowed opportunities for the younger kids that's getting ready to play now to get some playing time. So we're no dummies to what we're doing. We know what we're doing.
Nobody ever accused Hawk of being a dummy. I can tell you that right there.
Now, Coach, is there somebody that you want to spotlight?
You know, I think that certainly our running back is is as good a high school running back, and he'll be a great college running back also. And so Kalen that you interviewed earlier, he's amazing. And you know, we've got some linemen that are grown into grown men, and that you know, we expect a lot from. And we started a freshman center last year, and so 1 year older for him is going to be great. He's a big, good-looking kid, and you know, skilled kids at Bryan Station are pretty easy to find. You know, so I just and like he said, we had 8 running clock games last year. So our quarterback, you know, he played in the JV games and he played in 8 games on Friday night. So he gained a lot more experience than you'd think, and he's done that for 2 years. Yeah. So we're a lot more savvy and mature than you'd think. Losing, you know, people see you lost 5 D1 kids. You know, I'm in the process of making 5 more D1 kids.
That's right.
That's the mentality. So,
sir, yes,
you know,
sir.
I'm going to go on record saying there's not a bigger team in the state of Kentucky than these dudes.
I don't think so. And we laugh. He comes to me every day and says, "Man, we're small." And I go, JT, go over and stand next to some of these kids.
I'm 6'4", 280, and I'm telling you, these dudes are big.
Yeah, they're big.
They're big.
They're big.
I want bigger.
Well, that's happened because we went to San Antonio. When the tackles are 6'8", 6'7", 6'6", like that, I mean, that does that too. Initially, and the first time I coached in that All-American game, I came home and thought every kid at Doss was supposed to be like that, and that's not the reality.
No,
but,
it's not.
But we have collected some nice young kids over the last 4 years that have grown up and matured, and they've been in this weight room, and their payoff is now.
They want it.
This is where it starts right here.
I love it, man. I love it. This has been a phenomenal episode. I'm going to let Coach and let you guys off, man, so you guys can go and deal with these incoming guys, man. You guys got, what, 60 of them?
Coming in. We won't have that in the weight room tonight, but we've got 61 incoming freshmen, something like that.
60 fresh. That's like herding cats, man.
That's a whole nother team.
That's crazy.
A whole nother team.
But, yeah, it's been a phenomenal episode. I appreciate you guys for coming on. I appreciate you for having the boys on. Phenomenal, man. Best of luck to you guys, man.
Yeah, you guys need anything at all, reach out. If we can do it, we'll do it.
Yeah, we'll come back. We'll spotlight more guys. We'll get more into the football thing once football comes around. It's what I'm trying to do is just like get in your community to get to know these kids, man. Yeah. So they'll be like, yo, I want to support these guys, man.
Yeah, we'll talk more football next time we come.
Yes. But I appreciate you guys, man. And like I always say, everyone has a story.
We're here for them to tell it.
Cleats to Whistle Podcast.